Welcome to BIMS TV. I'm Rose Santana, and this is BIMS Bites Kids. And today, we'll be taking a bite out of harmful algal blooms. So, what are harmful algal blooms? Harmful algal blooms, or HABs as we shorten it, occur when colonies of algae, which are simple plants that live in both sea and freshwater, grow out of control and produce harmful effects on people, fish, shellfish, marine mammals, and birds. Basically anything that's near the water. Now, these algal blooms typically happen between late August and early September because that's usually when it's warmest, but don't be fooled because they can happen at any time. When or where harmful algal blooms happen depend on many factors such as excess nutrients getting into the water, temperature, sunlight, ecosystem disturbances, and many other things. So, typically, when we're talking about harmful algal blooms, we'll differentiate it between freshwater algal blooms and saltwater algal blooms. Now, saltwater algal blooms, known as red tide, are caused by a unicellular algae known as dinoflagellates and diatoms. Now, red tide typically don't tend to thrive in freshwater, so we would see these more in saltwater ecosystems such as our coastal environments. These can produce natural toxins such as brevetoxins, which are very harmful to both people and marine life. And it depends on the wind direction and strength, temperature, nutrients, and how salty the water is. Now, even though we call them red tide, they can be anywhere from this reddish color that we see here to a more browner color, kind of like this. So don't be fooled if you see something, it might be red tide. The next type of algal bloom that we often see is blue-green algal blooms. Now, in freshwater bodies, the majority of harmful algal blooms are caused by cyanobacteria. These can produce toxins or poisons that can make people and animals sick and affect the environment. Now, one big problem with these guys is that they can bloom very rapidly. Algae and cyanobacteria can rapidly grow out of control or bloom when water is warm, slow moving, and it's full of nutrients. That's the perfect trifecta to have an algal bloom happen. In fact, sometimes it can literally happen overnight. There could be a body of water one day that's perfectly clean, and then the next day it could look something like this. And fun fact, I probably wouldn't have let my dog swim in that body of water. Just saying. Now, oh no, Rose, what can we possibly do, right? Well, one thing that I always tell people is both red and blue-green algae, so in saltwater and freshwater, can cause health issues, especially to people with respiratory problems. So, always check for swimming and fishery advisories before you go out into any body of water. But Rose, what if there are no fishing or swimming advisories and I want to go out? One thing I always tell you is keep an eye out on your local bodies of water. Don't go into water that smells bad or looks discolored. In fact, sometimes it can smell like rotting eggs when there is an algal bloom happening. If there's anything weird floating on the top of the water that looks like paint streaks or foam, I wouldn't go in it. And of course, if you see anything like this, with dead fish or other animals washed up on the shore, avoid it at all costs. You probably don't want to go into this anyways, right? But the most important thing is know your ecosystems. If you know your ecosystems and what they're supposed to look like, you'll immediately be able to tell if something feels off and not right. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If any of you have any questions or would like to chat, feel free to reach out to me on any of my social media handles. And as always, thanks for tuning in to BIMS TV. Please like, follow, and subscribe us on all of our social media platforms. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, bye.